Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Star Trek Adventures. I am Steven. I am your game master. These are our intrepid crew members. Get it? Intrepid, because our ship's name is Intrepid here. We got some long locks coming down from Jeff there. Give us a shake. There we go. Someone clip that. So we are in a little bit of danger, but let's quickly go through and introduce our characters here. Derek, who are you? What's your role on the crew? And tell us a little bit about what you look like.
So I am Lieutenant Junior Zharg Dvorggern. I am the Chief Security Officer, so I'm in charge of the ship's weapons, which I like to read about in my spare time. And, for a Tellarite, he's average height. I think they're like about 5'9", 5'10", whatnot. He's got a well-kept beard and then like slick back brown hair. And he is very no nonsense and enjoys getting into arguments with people as one of his favorite pastimes. But he hasn't done that yet because he's a what is it? I'm a junior rank, so he's still kind of settling in things before he starts bringing out the "I know more than you" attitude.
And we've been on our toes quite a bit this mission. We've been pushing forward at a very brisk pace. So we should probably finish tonight, but you'll get some time to boss people around in between missions, I'm sure. Kipser, who are you playing?
Yo, dude. I'm Dr. Talas Nostrum Nazilla. I am an Andorian betazoid. I keep these people all with their liquids on the inside.
I love that you even have the stoner cough in there.
Yeah, sometimes you'll catch me in the Hollow Suite in like the surfer program or like the skater program or even the snowboarding.
Fantastic. Thank you. Jeff, who are you playing?
I am playing Commander Vice Danko. He is a joined trill of advanced age, and he is the science officer on the ship. And he is a studious teacher who loves to make rapid hypotheses. Paella. The hell am I talking about? And flamenco dancing. And if we get to pastimes, I'd be dancing.
And that brings up, we have a whole list of traits that you all can be bouncing off of. So as we run into the climax of the session, you might want to look into those because they can make things easier and harder on you. Melissa, who are you playing, and why is it that I always pick on your character?
Well, the second is a question only you can answer. But the first one, I am Commander Hessel. I am the communications officer on the ship. I am a Denobulan who appreciates the musical theater and musical movies.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then finally, but not least, Aaron, who are you playing?
I am playing Lieutenant Commander Elro Argent. He is a betazoid, average height, short brown hair, and sort of a military cut. He is the XO, or first officer of the ship. He is a combat veteran from the Dominion Wars. And in his spare time, he likes to work with one of the Vulcans on the ship, improving and strengthening his telepathic abilities, particularly like his telepathic shield, so he can continue to sort of keep the surface thoughts and surface emotions from everyone in the crew out of his head because it's irritating as all hell.
And your telepathic abilities have come in handy. Both of our little fights, you've been able to attack someone's mind and take them out. So that's worked out pretty well.
I do like the telepathy. I like the telepathy rules in the Star Trek 2E. It kind of gives them a little bit of teeth. Lets you actually use them actively.
I agree. I think it's been a lot of fun to play 2E so far, and I've read a lot of the book, and I really enjoy a lot of the changes they've made. I haven't read the whole book, Jeff, if that's what you're mouthing.
I was just wondering.
There were sections where I skipped.
We're like 4 sessions in. I'm just saying.
I don't read all the stat blocks at the end or the index, so I've read a lot of the book.
The index
I also
is the
skipped
best
like the
part.
first chapters that was all about the setting, and I'm like, I've seen enough Star Trek. I already know that.
Wow. Explains so
Which is
much.
why I get phasers and disruptors mixed up all the
time. Which one's which?
Phasers are the ones that you shoot and they go pew pew.
Okay.
You make me so sad, Steve.
Okay, yeah. Just
Pew pew.
I don't want to play anymore. All right.
All right. Let's go ahead and dive in. Captain's Log, Supplemental. The Intrepid has found the source of the tachyon emissions that have been plaguing the colony of Morgan's Hope. Regretfully, it is of Federation origin. The USS Hamilton, a decommissioned Constitution-class starship, was used for experimental weapons testing 4 decades ago. The prototype tachyon weapon created a temporal anomaly, propelling the ship forward in time where it has sat for 2 years now, slowly destabilizing to catastrophic levels. Carina 10's rings create strong interference with the Intrepid's systems. Transporting to or from the Hamilton would be fatal for our crew, so I've sent an away team via shuttlecraft to attempt to stabilize the tachyon device. They've reported signs of Romulan activity, but communication has been lost since landing on the Hamilton. We're finding you all, our away team, in engineering. You are next to this tachyon device. It's about 2 meters tall. It's shaped like a proton torpedo, that kind of capsule tubing, very clearly Federation in origin. And this tachyon device is pulling all of the power from the warp core, along with emitting massive bursts of tachyons that age everything in the vicinity. You as well if you stay too long here. Structurally, the warp core could fail in days, hours, or even minutes at this point. It is very hard to tell because the tachyons are increasing the age of the actual materials around it. So it requires quite a bit of supercomputing to figure out. That is something you could do. Hessel, Danko, and Talas, you are focusing on the device right now. It's close quarters. Only 2 of you can work on it at a time, but that doesn't mean the 3 of you can't tag team things. It just means only 2 sets of hands can be on the device at a time. Argent and Dvorggern, you have created defensive positions in engineering, as you have already been ambushed by Romulans on the ship. Talas's tricorder has just begun beeping, a warning that she has set up to alert you if Romulans enter the vicinity. You hear several sets of footprints coming from the corridor at a brisk pace. You all have a moment here to do something if there's something you would like to do. I'm assuming that you are all in defensive positions and around the device. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
What does a
definitely being
defensive
covered.
position look like in the Star Trek universe?
Well, you all have taken up several of the steel plates that have collapsed structural metal and piled it up to create barricades of cover that will protect you from disruptor fire. Not extremely focused. Disruptors can burn through the material, but it also gives you cover, as in it makes it hard for you to see. So it's going to make it harder for them to hit you.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to offend Commander Argent of do disruptors burn through metals like a laser or
Phaser.
The metal will take a blast without dissolving. It would take concentrated fire to burn through them. So, Dvorggern, Argent, you have defensive positions. You're watching the 2 main entrances to this engineering room. Talas, Hessel, Danko, is there anything you 3 want to be doing? You are a bit more exposed because you don't have the same positions, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're right at the forefront either.
I mean, other
And
than... Go ahead, Doc.
I would also presume that they don't necessarily want to fire at us
Right.
being next to
You're right next to the warp core as well.
core.
But
Yeah.
they might have the attitude of if we can't have it, then no one can have it.
Romulans
very
are pretty good
Romulan thing, yeah.
survivalists.
I mean, other than trying to essentially disarm or detach this thing, which I think you said was going to be a challenge. So
Yes. So you've already figured out the steps that are needed to disable this. You know that as soon as you start attempting to disable it, it's something that has to be completed rather quickly. Until then, you don't have to. You're just gambling on how long the warp core has until then.
Okay.
Before the warp core fully destabilizes.
Okay.
So since they're go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they're going to be focused on working on it, can I try to do something to shield them a bit? So we kind of have the people that are up front kind of looking to kind of take these folks on, and then kind of mid-range kind of trying to run interference a little bit so that the two of them behind me can focus on their work.
So we can say that was part of when you were building up defensive positions, that you were able to, how about you took your phaser and you strategically shot a few conduits that smoke has started to come up and created a little bit of cover for them.
Perfect.
All right. And we'll include that with the trait that we already have with impenetrable defenses, I think it was.
Yes.
All right. The footsteps have come closer and closer, and you hear them just outside the corridor. These doors are not closed. They're not capable of closing anymore. The lights are flickering and flashing. The ship has the most minimal power. It cannot support life support. It's trying to power the computers. It's trying to power the lights, but the power is sporadic and uncontrolled and unpredictable. The doors are stuck about halfway open. One of them is kind of crooked, as if the top servo motor worked and the bottom did not, and it jammed that way. The other one is just only a quarter of the way open. So it's still easy for people to pass through, but it does create a little bit of awkwardness as you have to duck your head. You hear the footsteps coming from the corridor come to a stop. You cannot tell how many Romulans are out there, but you know that it's at least 3 or 4 by the sound of it. And from the corridor, you hear, "Starfleet, I've come here to negotiate your surrender."
Thank you for your interest in our surrender, Romulan. Would you care to identify yourself so we can negotiate in good faith?
My name is Subcommander Talaria.
Subcommander Talaria. I am Lieutenant Commander Argent. As a counter-proposal, I am willing to accept your surrender.
Well, you seem to misunderstand your circumstances. We have a cloaked ship ready to destroy the Hamilton at a moment's notice.
Well, that seems like a reasonable course of action if we're unable to prevent this device or shut this device down. So if you feel that you need to open fire on the Hamilton and you think you can get back across the neutral zone before one of our warships intercepts you, I can accept that course of action, but it will be a declaration of war.
You will give up the device and surrender.
Counter-proposal. We will disable the device and you will surrender.
Lieutenant Commander Argent, was it?
It was, and still is.
And this whole thing is echoing without you being face-to-face. It's coming from down the hall, like just around one of the corners, and you hear it bouncing off the corridor, the panels that have fallen off. Forgive me if I find it hard to trust Starfleet, as you've always been so duplicitous with your intentions. The Federation claims to be an organization of peace, and yet here we are on a warship with a tachyon-based weapon.
That's a very good point. A tachyon-based weapon that's been modified by Romulan technologies after a Romulan warship illegally crossed the neutral zone and set up experimentations on a Federation planet in Federation space. At least that's based on the information we have from the Romulans we've already taken prisoner, who were illegally experimenting on Federation citizens' planets. And of course, the Romulans that we've taken prisoner here on the ship, who illegally boarded a U.S. Federation starship and began to modify its technologies in an attempt to steal it. Some very, very difficult questions that somebody's going to have to answer. It's above my pay grade.
I think at least one of those questions quite simple to answer, as the USS Hamilton no longer exists according to Starfleet records. So we are on a pile of scrap, not a Federation starship.
In Federation space. In Federation space. That's the caveat there. So I think this is probably our best course of action. You go back to the Bellarex, fly away, go back across the neutral zone, and pretend like none of this ever happened. And then we will have miraculously found stranded Romulans that we will send home to you. Or we could just escalate this until something really unpleasant happens. I'm comfortable either way.
Unfortunately for you, this Romulan has already been claimed. This starship has already been claimed as Romulan salvage, seeing as it is no longer Federation property. We have answered a distress call for Tachyon missions, and you are on Romulan property.
Well, we're on Federation property. You're in Federation space. You didn't answer any distress call, and you did illegally build a Romulan compound on our planet. We have the compound. We have the disruptor fire. We've got your Romulan technology. We've got your Romulan prisoners. This is really not going to look... And let's face it, once the Romulan High Command gets word of this fiasco, and they're going to get word of it if this escalates, I'm fairly certain that if you live through the experience, you will be hauling garbage between Remus and Romulus for the rest of your life.
What you have are baseless accusations. Under intergalactic law, we have answered a distress treaty and are salvaging the ship. We have already taken command of the bridge and will be towing it back to the demilitarized zone. To the neutral zone.
I think that's probably not going to happen. And I'm fairly certain you know as well as I know that what you just said is absolute nonsense and won't hold up in a Federation court. And since you're in Federation space, that's where this is going to get tried.
Well, seeing as you are being perfectly standard Federation and entirely unreasonable,
I accept that compliment.
We will have to take the device by force.
Feel free to come at.
You hear some shuffling in the corridor, and it sounds as if they begin to retreat. They're walking away.
Be prepared for them to throw some sort of destabilizer or temporary neutralizer in here. Fortunately, we're in vac suits, so we're environmentally sound. But we should be prepared to take fire from any direction.
Okay, that was a long conversation. There was also a lot of prep time that we had. I feel like this whole time Talas and I have been trying to do this. And you said it was going to be quick once we begin, so I don't... Yeah.
No, I said you will need to be quick about it, not that it would be quick. Like, you won't be able to spend a lot of time on it. You can't take a break is what I meant. You could have absolutely started on the first part of this challenge.
That's why I was drawing it out.
I know. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
I mean, they are in Federation space. That's good points.
All right, so
it's the Vulcans who are the logical ones, not the Romulans. Like, their argument's really, really flawed. Like, just incredibly flawed.
Yeah.
So we have 4 stages to this challenge, and the way challenges work is that you have to complete each stage before you can go on to the next one. Sometimes if you fail a stage, you can still move on to the next one. It just causes some unstable results. Sometimes you have to repeat it if you don't want anything bad to happen. If you fail too many times, something bad could happen, or you cannot complete the challenge. Each step of this challenge has a ability and an attribute and a department associated with it. So, for this first step, you have to reconfigure the auxiliary chronoton coils. It's going to require reason and engineering, and this is one of the most difficult parts. It's difficulty 4, so it's a good thing that you're working on this without disruptor fire firing overhead, because that would very much cause a little bit of strain for your concentration. You can automatically succeed at this with a cost if you would like. I will give you a success on the roll, but it would cause a complication. That is your call if you don't want to attempt pushing the roll.
You said reason and engineering?
Yes.
That's
And
a
two of you can
16
work on
for
it at a
me.
time.
Mhm.
All three of you can swap out these steps as they happen. So you can like tag in people who are better for the attributes if you'd like.
Do you have any focuses that would apply?
I
this?
do have improvisation, which I think would apply here considering the situation.
Is that
us
true,
trying to
Game Master?
Improvisation? Yeah, I think so.
Then yeah, I think you should go for it then, because you have slightly higher. Because I have 14, but then I might have had a couple focuses that might have applied. But if you have focuses, you should do it for sure.
Okay, yeah, I do have improv.
Can Jeff aid? Roll one die and aid her?
Yes.
Yes, so that's what I meant when two people can do it. Only
yeah.
one person can aid.
Okay. Would my quantum mechanics apply here as this?
Well,
as quantum?
tachyons are subatomic particles. They're not real, but they are subatomic particles. So yes, I think quantum.
Neither
physics, yes, for sure.
Romulans also aren't real, but yet we're still kind of playing them. So
They are.
I said
they
it
are
applies.
at
I
the
said it
same
applies.
time.
but you had a tone. Okay.
I had a tone. I like
Yeah,
having a
you
tone.
got the fur on the back of my neck raising up there.
Engineer reason with my quantum mechanics.
With your focus, yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah, I'm good. Just one success. That's a 5. So I only have a 2 in engineering.
So that's one success. Talas, you're getting 2 dice unless you don't have any
Yes,
momentum
can
right
we-
now.
Oh, we don't?
But
You can give me threat.
All right, I think I'm gonna have to give you some threat. Let me just...
Don't forget determination. If you have any determination, you can spend one before rolling,
Oh,
To make
and
it
that-
obvious.
and that would give you 2 right off the bat.
Then I'm
'Cause it-
definitely going to spend determination, and that would. Sorry, you're giving me 2 successes or 2 additional dice?
I'm giving you 1 successes. If you use determination, you automatically set one of the dice that you would roll to a 1.
Okay.
And in this case, it would give you 2 more successes. So you're already
Right,
up to
because of the
3,
improv.
and then you have whatever other dice you have left to roll. You still have those to roll.
Okay. Then I'll take 1 extra dice. Will be the only one that I
Alright,
need.
so that gives me 1 threat.
1 threat. So I will. Since one of them is a success, I won't bother rolling it. I'll just roll 2 dice remaining. Oof, ouch. 15 and 13 both are a success. So that is a total of 5 successes.
So it's a momentum generation too.
Oh yeah, that is 5. So yeah, you're generating momentum, and you have successfully reconfigured the auxiliary chronoton coils. You know that this is very important because a misalignment could result in quite a bit of instability here. That brings you on to the next phase. The Romulans still have not made an appearance now, and this is decoupling the tertiary injectors. This is quite difficult because the actual injectors have aged and rusted. So it's a physical fitness engineering task where you have to actually forcefully decouple it. They're jammed in there. You have to be able to do it without breaking anything as well. This is only difficulty 3.
As they're doing that, Commander Argent says to Commander Hessel, see if you can reconfigure your tricorder to screen against as a transporter buffer to try to ensure they don't go back to their ship and attempt to transport this out.
You don't have to worry about transporting because it would be fatal for them just like it would be for you.
Well, I was talking about the equipment, though. If they
The equipment would be destroyed as well.
okay, never
Which
mind.
it would possibly create a whole big tachyon explosion, but at that point, no one has to worry about it.
Not a problem anymore.
So
All right.
Talas is going to take the lead on this one as well.
I'll assist if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Fitness engineering.
Okay.
Yes. I'll let Jeff roll
It's an 8,
first.
so that's a success. Yeah, that's 1.
Excellent. Would improvisation work for this one as well, Stephen?
Not for this one. This one is not the same sort of technical aspect. You're
Okay.
really trying to carefully brute force it.
What if she does it in like the voice of a well-known entertainment character, like a holodeck character, you know?
Ooh.
Is there an emergency medical hologram that shows up?
You, like good old
Same.
Ryan Stiles out there,
Yeah.
or
What if she
Colin
did it like
Monterey?
Moriarty, you know, from the Next Generation? What if she said that?
Okay, it's fine. I won't use a focus. Do you want to throw a determination? How many successes do we need for this one, Stephen?
3, and you already have 1.
Okay, I'll spend another determination on this one as well.
Cool.
And then I guess I will roll 1 dice. Yes, I'll roll this one. That is an 8, so we're good. That is
All right,
3
so that's
successes.
4 total then, right?
4 total, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so you've built up yet another momentum. And
Thank
this
those.
takes a little bit of time as you are trying to find the right tools. You're trying to loosen it up. You know that if you just start yanking on these things, that you could expose cords. The covering is very, very old. While the ship itself was decommissioned 40 years ago, and it was sent forward in time, it's been sitting here for 2 years. Everything has aged 100 years in that time. Nothing has been repaired or maintained, and it's entirely because of these tachyon bursts that are generating from this device directly in front of you. You are able to remove these injectors. You're able to pry off the couplings that do that, and you have completed 2 steps here. But that is when Argent, Dvorggern, Hessel, as you are paying attention here, you hear a scrambling from above. Looking up in the ceiling, you see that there is a Romulan disruptor that is poking out through an exposed panel. They have gone through the Jeffries tubes here, but you were all prepared for this. This is not an ambush, so players get to go first here. What are you doing?
I had a quick question. While the crew is getting the tachyon emitter dismantled, is there anything that I can do to the Romulans' tech to like basically mess with them in any way? So like if they have communicators similar to us, could I like, I guess, interact or mess with them essentially to make like an irritating noise or have them not able to talk to each other to coordinate?
That would be the type of thing where you try to spend momentum to build a trait. If that was the type of thing you would want to do. I don't think there's anything that necessarily prevents you, but oftentimes it's like a device that causes this. So you would have to like repurpose something here on the Hamilton, or say that you brought something with you, which we can absolutely do if that's what you're looking to do.
Well, no, I know you mentioned that there's no power to anything on the ship. So while I was just sitting here thinking, like, with my focuses and just with what I'm learning, I wasn't sure if something I could do in the meantime to kind of irritate or hinder the Romulans at all.
No, that absolutely is something you could do. You want to specifically try to like jam their comm signals. Is what you're?
Yeah, I was like, if I can
thinking?
make their weapons unreliable or make their comms emit like a high noise, so it like just distracts them, or anything I can do to give us an edge. I don't know how, because I know you said that hacking isn't really a thing in this universe, so I don't think I could like disable someone's weapon.
You can modify a tricorder to sort of send out a jamming signal, and then if he passes the test on that, he can spend 2 momentum to create a trait that Romulan's communications are jammed.
Yeah, that was pretty much exactly what I was going to say, that you could try to use your tricorder with your communicator. I think this would be... I think this would be like an engineering type thing. And I would say it sounds like daring. It's an adverse situation trying to improvise a technical solution.
Okay.
So let's say daring engineering.
And let's see, would this fall under my strategy focus or security systems focus? I don't know if comms are technically like security or not.
I think you could go with strategy for this, because you are trying to interrupt their strategy.
Yeah.
You might consider calling
aid him
over Commander
with this
Hessel.
at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
With this at
The
all?
communications officer, yes.
Because I have subspace communications and communications
nice.
systems.
Subspace
and
communications
troubleshooting.
is perfect for that.
Yeah, I would absolutely rely on your expertise here.
What would my role be? Would it be the same daring engineering?
I think so, yes. And you
Alright.
guys can decide who rolls and who assists.
I have 10 for daring engineering. What do you have?
I have a daring of 7, so I also have a 10 because my engineering is 3. Do your dice feel luckier?
You should go. But so I'll roll 1. I'll roll 1d20 for the assist.
Yeah.
See where that goes. That's an 8, so it is a success, but not 2 successes.
I got 10 and an 18.
So you were
two
looking for a
total.
10? That is 2 success. I think difficulty 2 would have made sense here. I didn't call it out, but difficulty 2 is right. So you get the success, and if you want to spend the 2 momentum, you can add the trait to the scene then.
Do we care if I burn the momentum you guys just built up?
Go for
I don't
it.
know. Okay,
Absolutely, do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good plan. Smart.
Nice, Derek.
Cool. All right. So,
All right, and make sure you put that in our text file as well. So that has happened before you see this disruptor showing up from an exposed Jeffries tube. Back to the players again. Who's going first here, and what are you doing?
I think Argent would go first just because he can leverage follow my lead and then decisive leadership to keep initiative.
Okay.
So I think as soon as he sees the disruptor, he's just gonna mind fry the guy with the disruptor telepathically. And I will spend a point of determination so that I can activate follow my lead after that. So that'll set 1 dice to a 1. So that's already gives me 2 successes. I only need to get 2 for the telepathic attack. I got another one though. I got an 8 on the die, so a total of 3 successes. So 1 point of momentum back, and it's a severity level 3 stun.
Fantastic. But these guys are Romulan Centurions, so I am going to take an action to avoid injury, spending 3 of their personal threat to avoid that stun. So your beam it fires straight, but we'll say like
Beam
a
of my
panel.
mind.
I'm sorry, that's what it was. I was thinking the stun phaser set to stun. My bad. As that is happening, there was a burst of tachyons that just essentially, now that these injectors have released, time has no standard pace anymore. You see things, a panel falls and it just hangs in the air for a second. Your brain works at the exact same speed. You almost feel like you're paralyzed as you see this slowly falling. And then just like that, it pops back, but even faster, like a rubber band snapping back, and the panel slams down to the floor. That's just enough to distract you that the Romulan pulls back into the Jeffries tube and does not take the injury because I spent the threat. You can still see this Romulan. You also see another Romulan popping out of another Jeffries tube, and then who you assume to be the sub-commander rushing down the corridor that she was talking to you from. So you see 3 Romulans here.
So at that point, Argent would direct Dvorggern to fire at the sub-commander coming at us, which would activate his follow my lead talent, which means you automatically get an assistance from me, and the die is automatically set at 1 from me. So as long as you succeed at hitting her, you get 2 additional successes.
Fantastic. And you're keeping the initiative, is what you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that passes to players. Dvorggern, you can go, or anyone else can go. Donko, Talas, you can work on the challenge as this is happening. You do not have to be in this fight if you do not want to.
I was going to let the fighters go first.
Yeah, I think so too. That makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I'll go next then. And yeah, if I'm getting assist with a free double success, then I was going to attack the Commander Talaria? Yeah, Talaria. Right? Okay.
Yes, Sub-Commander Talaria.
And if I'm using my Type 3 phaser. Oh, and obviously I'm using my phaser focus. I got an 8 and a 16. So is this control since I'm trying to be precise with my aim?
Yes, control is for the ranged weapon.
Okay, so then I need, looks like 15. So I got an 8 and a 16. So that is one success.
All right, and you need 2 success to hit on.
But I've got 3 total because
but
of
you get the
Argent
extra
assist,
2 from Argent. So the ranged base difficulty is always 2. Unless they have cover or dim lighting or something like that, which you all have in this situation, but they do not. Okay, so that is a success and a single momentum. I believe you can spend that momentum to up the severity if you would like.
Yeah. Remind me, I haven't memorized all
So you're using a phaser rifle, which should have severity 5. And I believe you're trying to stun as well, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you could spend that extra momentum or bank it. If you spend it, that would raise the severity to 6.
Yeah,
or no, it
I might
costs
as well.
2 momentum to increase that.
I was just trying to look at that.
It's accuracy. The weapon has to be accurate, if I'm remembering correctly. I've read most of the rules.
Yeah, you may spend 2 momentum to increase the severity by 1.
It's not accurate. It's intense is what it is. Intense is where you can spend 1 momentum rather than 2. So if you want to increase the severity for this, it would cost 2 momentum.
Which I don't have. So then we're just going to bank it, unless I can improvise.
I think we have 2 momentum if you wanted to spend it.
Well,
yeah, so you have 1 in there, 2 in the bank. So you could spend 1 from the bank if you want.
I thought I spent 2 doing the comms disruption.
You did, but I generated 1 point of momentum, and then you generated 1.
All right, my mistake then. Yeah, so then I'll take 1 from the bank to do 6 total damage to stun this guy.
Was I wrong then, Aaron? You had the 2 in the bank there? Okay.
Yeah,
so you're down to
2 is
0
accurate. We're down to
momentum.
0 now.
Okay. All right. So that is 6 severity, which is massive. Again, this is a named character, though. Pulling back the curtain, she has a personal threat of 8 that she can spend, so she will choose to avoid the injury, spending 6 of her 8 personal threat. If you do another 5 or 6 to her, she won't have the threat to spend. I'd have to go from my bank there. Okay, so your phaser rifle blasts a stun beam. Teleria was, we'll say that she did a feint. She was rushing into the room, but she's smart. And she knew that there would be a blaster coming, so she was drawing her fire, and she pulled back at the last second to press against the wall, and that is when your phaser went off. So now I believe it is my turn, right? And you don't have anything to keep the initiative here? All right. So we're going to go with the guy in the Jeffries tube. He's going to inch his way forward, and he's going to fire his disruptor. You all have impenetrable defenses, so that gives you +1 difficulty. And you have the smoke as well that you blasted up. And I've said that it's very dim lighting already. There is darkness around here. So it's going to require 4 successes for him to hit you right now because you've dug in so well. Dug in like an Alabama tick. So I am going to spend a threat here to give him an extra die. And I think it makes sense he's going to target Argent because you were the one who targeted him. Not that he really knew it was you.
That's okay.
That is only 2 successes. And none of it beat his focus there. All right. But Subcommander Teleria also has that any Romulan under her command can take an extra task on their turn. So we're going to try this again. I'm not going to spend the threat this time. And we're just going to hope that I roll better than I did before. And I did not. That's an 18 and a 13. Both are misses. All right. That is his turn, and we're pushing it back to the players. Who wants to go?
Hessel, you're floating, so what are you doing? Are you going to join the fight, or are you going to help? Are you going to keep helping with the with what we're doing? The, I don't know, disabling of the device?
Dismantling.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a fighter, but I think I should probably, since there's 3 of them, try to continue to kind of give cover so that you guys can keep working. So.
All right, so there are 2 Romulans in Jeffrey's tubes. One of them has already been attacked, and then you also know that the sub-commander is in the corridor. She doesn't actually have a defensive position. That was just me narrating. So you could attack her as well if you'd like.
I will certainly try. And so, sorry, I shouldn't pay attention. What are the combos?
Control, security,
discipline. Control is 11 and security is 2, so I'm rolling under 13.
Who are you targeting?
The sub-commander.
Okay.
I don't have anything that helps with this, so I'm just trying to roll this.
Am I able to assist her at all? By calling out, like...
You would have had to do that on your turn to set up some way to assist.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's an 18 and a 19. It's not even close.
Oh no. Melissa luck is back.
There are some things that make 19's complications, but I don't think you have any of them on this weapon, so you're fine. So unfortunately, it is a miss. She's still pressed up in that corner where the door is just halfway open, and most of her is hiding behind there. Your phaser hits the door. It's very strong steel. This is structural, and it does not pierce through. Did you want to move or anything on your turn?
I definitely want to be in some amount of cover if I can kind of add additional cover to the defense and the smoke.
We're counting you as in the impenetrable defense already, with the dim smoke and the lighting. So it will be difficulty 4 to hit you already.
Okay. I'll just relocate just to not be a static target. So.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. We're going to bounce back to Sub-Commander Talaria. I'm going to spend the threat here so that she has a disruptor rifle just like Zharg. And that's who she's going to target. She's going to pull her disruptor rifle out and return fire. I'm going to spend another threat to give her another die. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. So that is a 1, an 11, and a 12. That is exactly 4 successes. All right. So this is going to be... I'm not going to spend my threat because I'm running low and I want to save it in case she gets hit again. But this is going to be Deadly 5. So you're going to have to spend 5 stress in order to avoid an injury here. And your stress is equal to your fitness plus any talents or anything that you might have.
You're muted, by the way.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading. I'm trying to see. So if I deduct 5 stress, what happens?
Essentially, it just means that you are escaping by the skin of your teeth, right. And you're not actually hit, but you can only avoid it so many times before you take a serious injury.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's basically like armor in some way before you take a fatal hit.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like tiers of like, oh, when you take a certain amount in one turn, that effect happens to you.
No, you're fine there.
Okay, all right.
So you're spending the stress. What does this look like? How are you avoiding this?
So I imagine it's like, instead of having like a sandbag cover like you would in World War II times, we have scrap metal. And so like after taking the shot, I'm trying to get I was trying to help Hessel by pointing like fire here. And as I was peeking up, the shot came, just grazed the top of my head essentially. So my hair has been singed or whatever happens when you are shot with a disruptor.
And this is a disruptor rifle, so it's a very powerful weapon too. So you just barely peeked and moved your head, and where your head was, you had a little bit of scrap metal, and now there is a chunk that's been taken out of the scrap metal, and we see your head move through. If it had been just a few inches over, you would have been dead there, but you were okay, dead narratively. The actual shot would have just injured you. Okay. That is her turn. Back to the players.
So what is the next? What would the next
check.
step in the challenge be?
Well, clearly the next step is to nullify the master filament, Jeff.
Okay.
And that would be control engineering.
Okay.
No. Layers and layers
Control
of
engineering is.
This is
a
normally
15.
difficulty 2, but with the combat happening, I think it should up to difficulty 3.
That's a 10. I mean, like, this is engineering is really not my forte, so I defer to you.
Okay. I definitely took some engineering because I thought doctoring might not always be the case. However, looking over at Zharg, it might soon be the case. All right, so we're at 0 momentum again because we spent it, right, Aaron?
Yes.
Correct.
I do think improvisation and subatomic particles still apply for
Okay.
this section here.
Okay, great.
Hey, so one of the things I was going to
Or
ask
quantum
is
is what you said.
we have one of the traits we have is tachyon info primer. Would that apply at all? Could you tap into that
Absolutely, it would.
Yeah.
So you can lower the difficulty back down to 2 with that.
Great. Yes. Okay, then I won't spend my last determination. And I assume, Jeff, you're going to give me the help action?
as well? No, I don't think so.
No?
We're in combat this time, so I was hoping
ouch.
you can succeed on your own, and then maybe I can succeed on the
Fine.
next step.
I'm going
you
to
know?
spend 1 determination,
Oh.
which gives me the 2 successes regardless of what I roll.
Because if you guys do it separately, we could just be done this round.
Yes.
That was my thing. I was thinking that.
All right. Well, I will roll 1 dice to see if I get 3 successes to yes, I do. And my so I match my engineering. Do I need to be below it for the addition or
Meets
just
it
match?
is good.
Okay, I
So
rolled a
4.
4. 4 for
All
4.
right, so that is 4 successes then.
Yes.
All right, you only needed 2, so you're building up 2 momentum. Excellent work. You have to nullify the master filament. So you take off one of these panels. As disruptor fire and phasers are going off, you hear all the pew-pews from the phasers. You take off this panel, and there is essentially a metal thread that runs through a cylinder. And you know that this is very precise, very surgical, you might say, where you have to nullify this thread. You cannot just cut it. It's not that easy, but you're taking your tools and your tricorder, and you are twisting this in just the right way. You have to twist it a certain amount and then pop it out. And as you click, that's when another tachyon burst happens, and everything freezes in the air. You see a disruptor pulsing through the air that just kind of slows down. And these things that move across the air in split seconds, you see it still moving, but so slowly, like at a turtle's pace. And you are essentially frozen in time. All of you are experiencing this. You all have thought that is moving at the correct speed, but everything around you has slowed down. Dr. Talas, this is an incredibly important moment for you. You know that if you do this wrong, you would actually overload this tachyon device and start pulling even more power from the warp core. This is one of the things that they wanted to avoid, which is why they abandoned the ship, because it was so dangerous. As you're doing this, time snaps back. Again, like a rubber band. That disruptor goes even faster than it ever should, and you yank out this coil as you were pulling. But you got the success. You had the correct motions, and you were prepared for this. You have nullified the master filament, and you have taken away the majority of the danger of this tachyon device. It is not fully disabled here. There is still 1 step left, but you have gotten past the most dangerous part. We're going back to our... Sorry, go ahead.
That was a gnarly wave.
Very gnarly indeed, yes. Excellent work.
Appreciated. I'm gonna leave the last one to you. I gotta get rid of this.
We are going back to our last Romulan Centurion, and he will be firing his disruptor as well. I'm not going to spend threat. I want to save that for Sub-Commander. So we're going to just rip it and hope for the best here. That is a miss on the first one, but he gets a second task from Teleria. He is under her command. That one, it's only 3 successes. So that is not enough, but it was close. So Argent, we're going to say that he was targeting you. Disruptor fire is blasting into your impenetrable defenses here. If you did not take up this defensive position, you would be burning right now, as it would have hit you multiple times. There really wasn't much cover in this engineering bay to begin with. So your proper planning and your strategic know-how, Dvorggern, has really saved all of your lives at this point. That is the end of its turn. Donko, I believe you're the only one left.
I am. So So Donko is going to try to follow Talas's lead and see if he can put this thing, make it as inert as we possibly can at this point.
Yes. So at this point, you need to convert the emergency tachyon stabilizer. So the danger is past, but this is what's going to truly stabilize it for the rest of time, make it easy to transfer without possibly reigniting. This is daring science. It's going to be difficulty 2, but again, with combat, it goes difficulty 3.
And
So
you got 2 momentum.
And I am the max. I have the highest daring of the group, I think, at 10. And I have the highest science. So this is actually, I was born to make this roll.
I've had this planned for 2 weeks. So
Have
it
you
was
really?
just proper timing with how you've been bouncing
Okay.
through it.
And we have how much momentum do we have?
2.
All right. I want to give us a bunch more because I'm going to crush this roll. What's the difficulty of this?
It's difficulty 3.
Okay.
It would be
difficulty
2, but
3,
with combat, it goes to 3.
but my
And your
tachyon info
quantum
primer.
physics. Yeah,
The tach-
absolutely.
the
So that
trait-
brings it down to 2. Yeah.
Okay. And quantum physics applies. Okay. All right. And then I am going to take 1 momentum. So I'm going to bring it down to 1. And then I'm going to spend my determination. I have 1 left. 2. And since so I'm already at 2, assuming I succeed. All right. And so I'm looking for 15s. And that is 2 successes, one of which is a crit, one of which is a 4. So that's 3 successes. Then I had a 16. So 3 successes plus the 2 I already have puts me at 5 successes.
All right. So that is 3 momentum that you have gained there. Excellent roll. Let me put this on to you. How are you stabilizing this, preparing it for moving?
Okay, so I think basically what he does, and is that he's trying to essentially modify maybe like something about the capsule itself to essentially create a force field around it in some ways, but some sort of a force field, not necessarily sort of for protecting like disruptor fire. So maybe he's just trying to like tap into whatever are the circuitries in here that might be part of the warp core casing and see if he can somehow like repurpose that and create this capsule around it.
Absolutely. That works perfectly. And the tachyon bursts that were speeding up and slowing down time are now nullified as you have stabilized this. So you no longer have to worry about being paralyzed mid-action any longer. Okay.
And then I get 2 things I need to do. First, because I'm a veteran, I get to roll a d20, and if it's equal or under my control, I get my determination back whenever I spend it. And I rolled a 5, so I actually do get that determination back. And then because I purchased momentum and succeeded, I get a bonus momentum because I'm a trill. That has to be spent right now. So I am going to I want to spend it to I'm going to spend it doing the thing I normally do.
Obtain information?
No, rapid hypothesis.
Well, rapid hypothesis I have to do after doing obtain information. So I am going to I'm going to spend 1 momentum, the bonus momentum I just got, to ask you 2 questions about the scene. So one question is so looking at the way in which they're coming in through these different Jeffries tubes, is there a particular route out of here that they are not currently blocking?
Yes, we'll say that there is another Jeffries tube that leads away.
Okay.
They've come from a position that leads to the main turbo lift. And
Okay.
it seems as if that was where they originally arrived from. So you would be essentially going to the farthest reaches of the ship, but you can get out of there that way.
Okay, and then my second question is, is there a panel by the Jeffries tube, or even inside the Jeffries tube? Like, is the design such that we could jam the entry point into the Jeffries tube?
I think you absolutely could do that. Yes.
Okay.
There's so much falling apart in here and so much scrap that you could use. You could absolutely try to do that.
So I will then use my rapid hypothesis to go ahead and create a trait that says easy escape route.
Easy escape route. There we go.
Nice.
And I think you have cut off escape route or something like that for the Romulans as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because you destroyed their shuttle.
Mhm.
So we got a lot with escape routes going on.
Okay.
All right.
And he'll call that out to Commander Argent, Jeffries tube in the back. The device is ready for transport.
Fantastic. And that's the end of the round then. I've only got the 3 Romulans. So that brings us to the top of the round. And I believe players go first at the top of the round.
So let me, if it's okay, since we can keep the initiative this way, let me devise a plan of action, create a trait that allows us to easily move this device into the Jeffries tubes. So I'll spend the 2 momentum for that, and because of that plan of action, we'll reduce the difficulty of moving it. The next person who goes will have 2 bonus momentum to seal the Jeffrey tube up after we move out of it, if they want to do that. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. That's what I do.
All right. Then Subcommander Teleria will go next.
Well, no, because we're keeping the initiative. Yeah.
Yep. My bad. If I didn't forget, you wouldn't be able to go, actually, no, it's still our turn.
So he lays out this plan, and then he moves over to the Jeffries tube and sets up. So that's his movement action.
Fantastic. And then who's going next?
So
anyone want to start moving this? Anyone want to?
Yeah. So
attack?
I think since Vice called it out and he did the last step, he will start trying to transport it. So he'll can he transport this by himself, or is it something he can carry?
Can I give him the
It's
help
2 meters
action?
tall and it is quite heavy. It's something that you could lug around, but it's not something you can just carry on your own. Like you'd be able to drag it because it's cylindrical, it's smooth enough,
Okay.
but it would be slow going. If you wanted to do it by yourself, I think it would require a fitness check of some sort.
Okay. So you want the old
I'll
man
help
to
you.
do
I'll
the
help you.
fitness?
I will help you. Please
Well,
let me help you.
The problem is, though, is if you do that, then they get the go because you have to do the assist action on your turn, and then they would go again, and then it comes back to me. So,
I think it's okay to kind of blend the turns here. If both of you want to act on the same turn and you're not fighting, I'm okay with that. You have them outnumbered anyways.
Okay.
Sure. So what's the discipline going to be, or the department?
I think fitness engineering makes sense. I'll take fitness science if you want. So either fitness science or fitness engineering, but it is going to be fitness.
I calculate the math how best to roll it and something like that. The least, the direction and the method that has the least amount of friction.
I was assuming that you'd be calculating the way that would be least dangerous to move this device, but yeah, that works too.
Okay, I'm basically like a mentat over here. I mean, that's basically what I built.
Roll
Your eyes roll back in your
engineering
head.
to help you.
Okay.
Ooh, no, that bad roll.
All right.
You stop
No, I've
sitting
got
on
it.
it.
No, I've got it.
Stop sitting on it. It's not one of your surfboards. Get off of it. This is a tachyon bomb. So
Yeah.
if that's the case.
Fitness science then for you.
Alright.
And
Difficulty?
we're going to say this is difficulty 1 normally, and then we'll say difficulty 2 because you're under disruptor fire. If you want to use a
Fair
trait that would help you, go ahead.
But I used the plan of action to create the trait to make it easy.
So if
to
you
move,
succeed,
so
he
that
gets
would have
2.
reduced it
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's
Well, no,
just
it just
down to
reduces the difficulty down by 1.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
he succeeds, he gets 2 bonus momentum to use.
All right.
Alright.
I will
So difficulty
spend. I will spend a momentum because I can possibly pass this. Okay, here we go. I got this. The old man. Okay, I got a 1 and a 19. So yay.
Oh gosh.
I don't have any focus that would apply. So
But the 1 still works.
One still
Yeah.
2 successes.
A 1 is still 2 successes.
okay.
So that's 2 for you, 2 from Argent. So that's 4 total, which is 3 momentum you're building up here.
So the difficulty
The
is
2
1.
bonus momentum have to be spent this round.
Yeah, and I also have a bonus momentum from doing that has to be spent. So we have 3 momentum that goes into the kit, and I have 3 bonus momentum
What
that
questions
has to
do you
be
wanna
spent
ask, Jeff?
right now. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to do the reduced time to do this. I want to get right
that
up in
makes
it. So I'm going to spend 2 of the bonus momentum to just get there. It takes half the time. And then for the obtained information, I will spend the last bonus momentum to ask: is there any sort of like electrical conduit or anything near the entrance to the Jeffries tube that can be rigged to potentially explode?
There's a warp core nearby.
Not that. You know what I meant. I said conduit. How do you go from conduit to warp core? Okay, that's an escalation I'm not really ready for.
You're just thinking at the wrong scale, Jeff.
I was just offering.
At
I
a
was
universal
just offering.
scale, a warp core is a
He turns and he
conduit.
fires at the warp core thing. That's it. What are we playing next?
So you have disabled this tachyon device, which means the warp core has actually become a bit healthier, and it's beginning to put power back into the ship. So while the ship has aged and things have fallen apart, there is a surge of energy that is rushing through. I think you could absolutely rig something to blow with that
Okay.
extra energy.
Okay. And then the second question would be, God dang, I always forget the second question. The second question is going to be,
I was going to suggest a question like, how rough can I be with this thing? Like, is it okay if I roll it a little bit?
I mean, I guess.
Just like,
I
no,
guess
I
we
want
could
to
do
be
that.
rough with it.
I was going to say the second question could be, oh my gosh, like how quickly would it take to like rig that conduit to sort of explode or give feedback or give some sort of feedback?
Let's say that if you spend an action to rig it, it would have the same severity as your phaser. We'll say severity 3. If you are able to spend multiple actions rigging it, then each action will add 3 to that.
Okay.
And if you do like the faster, spending the momentum there, that would be like an extra action to act on.
Okay, so I'm going to do my rapid hypothesis to add the trait conduit primed for sabotage. So anyone who wants to do that, the difficulty is reduced by 1 to do whatever it is. Okay.
All right. And because you spent for it to happen faster, the momentum to make it happen faster, we would have said with the success, you make it to the Jeffries tube, but you made it happen faster. So you have the tachyon device entirely in the Jeffries tube and a good ways in, so that the rest of your away team can also pile into the Jeffries tube if they want their space for it. You still have to go
Closes the
single
door.
file,
See ya.
and you're still like...
No, I got you.
All right. That is Donko's turn. We also said that's Talas's turn because you wanted to assist. Talas, will say that you moved into the Jeffries tube as well with your maneuver. Okay. So you are both in there right now.
I've been dragging her the whole way. She's standing and surfing while I drag it. I don't see how this is
like-
helping. You'll have to explain this to me later.
The balance on this is so good.
She was surfing up till you got to the Jeffries tube, and then she hit her head going in. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. So that's going to bring us to Sub-Commander Teleria, who I wanted to go before, but you all kept the initiative. Seeing that you all are getting away with the device, she's going to press the attack. She's going to spend a maneuver to move in. Essentially, she's going to get to a position where it's going to lower the difficulty for her down to 3 instead of 4, where she gets a better line of sight. And she is going to spend a threat to get the extra die here. And she's going to target Argent because that's the one who accused her of breaking international law. She didn't appreciate that.
truth hurts, bitch.
This is gonna hurt more. I rolled 2 1s and a 12. All right. So that is 5 successes. It is ranged deadly. It is accurate and intense.
Oh.
So with accurate, she didn't make the aim action, so that doesn't matter. Intense, she can spend 1 momentum rather than 2. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna spend. She earned 2 momentum here because it required 3 and she got 5 successes. So I'm gonna spend both of those momentum to increase the severity, taking it from 5 to 7. Is a deadly 7 severity attack on you, Argent.
All right.
What does this look like? Are you avoiding the injury?
Yeah.
All right. How are you dodging this? As she comes rushing
He's
through.
looking right at her, and he's reading her surface thoughts, so he knows when she's going to pull the trigger. And right as he pulls it, he just goes like this. Disappointing.
Fantastic. Infuriating her even more because she sees the device getting away. She's been arguing with you the whole time. She rushed in. She had the perfect line of sight, but like you said, you read her thoughts. And you see a mixture of shock and anger and frustration on her face as she feels her success, her career slipping through her fingers here. That is her turn. Who's going next? I think it's Dvorggern and Hessel are left.
I plan to go last since I'm going to cover everyone getting
I figured.
out.
Yeah, I will. I'm just trying to go quickly.
All right. So what are you doing?
If I can, I guess I can. Would the positions be such that while I am retreating, I can try to just do, kind of last little bit of kind of covering fire so that Zharg can kind of come in and do what he needs to do?
Yes, so it's close enough space that you maneuvering won't necessarily avoid any of that. You can take covering fire before or after you move, or you could move and start setting up this Jeffries tube to be closed or to set it up to explode. Any of those options are valid.
Okay, and I think Dvorggern's abilities probably fit better with sort of getting it set up to like explode.
You have engineering know-how too, don't you?
I've got a 3.
Okay, it's
Not
your call.
Horrible. Yeah. What would I be rolling? It'd be engineering reason?
I think it would be daring engineering to make something explode.
Difficulty is
but-
reduced by 1 because of the trait, and you'll get to reroll a d20 because you're using a trait I created, basically, for this task.
You can also do the covering fire, like you said. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm just trying to let you know your options.
My daring is also 7. I think I'm actually the worst person in the group.
My daring is
that's
also
right, 'cause-
7.
Yeah, daring engineering. I think we're both
Bunch of
exactly the
cowards.
same.
The old man's the only one who's got any amount of daring. He sees the end, and so it doesn't bother him as much.
All right,
He's got nothing to
I'll
lose.
attempt to do this. I'll go back and so it's I've got to reduce the difficulty on the task by 1, and I can reroll a d20. So I will take all of that.
Reduce the difficulty, not raise the difficulty.
I mean,
Sorry,
you could raise it
that's
if
what
you
I
want.
She's
I
so
don't-
confident. She wants to
It's like, all right.
Right.
And we've got momentum, so if you want to spend a
And we
point
do,
of momentum,
yeah. We
you
got
get a
plenty of
third dice.
momentum. Yeah.
Well, luckily I'd already rolled and didn't need it. So I
Okay,
rolled.
long.
All right, so
All right, now you have to have a long
2
reaction.
reduced to 1. And did you re-roll a die?
I didn't need to. I rolled a 6 and a 10.
Do you want to risk rolling the 10 to get under like a focus or a crit?
Don't listen to him. Don't listen
Don't
to
listen to
people
the
telling
devil
you
on
what
their
they see
shoulder.
right now.
Don't listen.
He's
to
wearing
him.
red. He's literally dressed
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
Looked
devil.
at the screen and everyone was shaking their head no. So
The red
no.
shirt.
All right, so that is a success and a momentum that you can bank or spend. This panel is rigged to explode. More people can spend actions to make it rigged bigger if they want. And you are right at the mouth of the Jeffries tube, Hessel. That sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Excellent turn. I would have risked it personally, but that's fine if you want to play it.
I don't doubt that you would have risked it.
All right, I will stop trolling you, and I will take a turn for the Romulan Centurion that's up in a Jeffries tube. He cannot maneuver to get closer, so he's going to spend his maneuver to aim, and he's using a Disruptor Pistol here, which is not accurate, so it only is the 1d20 instead of the 2 that he can reroll here. He's not going to spend Threat, so we're going to see how this goes. Nope, it's not happening. That's only 2 successes, which is not enough to hit. He does get an extra turn, though. Nope, still not happening. No complication, thankfully, but that was close with the 1918. So again, Commander Hessel, you are moving to the mouth of the Jeffries tube. Dvorggern, Argent, you are in defensive positions, but close to the mouth of this Jeffries tube. Disruptor fire is still blasting, but with all this cover, with the smoke that Hessel started, it's just impossible to see anything at this distance, and he continues to miss. That is his turn. Dvorggern, you are the last one to go. There is still 1 Centurion to go after you.
Okay. Everyone's base. So like I said, I want to be the last one out of the room. I want to give everyone cover. Although it would be nice. The Centurion's getting an extra action because of the sub commander, right?
The Centurion does get an extra task because of the sub commander, yes.
So if I stun her, then... Okay, so I'm going to basically try to stun her so that he doesn't get that.
Okay, yeah. What are we shaking our head at, Jeff?
Kipser's talking about how the weather's finally nice in chat. It's just like, just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up.
Look, if you're going to complain about the temperature, I'm going to brag that mine is finally at a good place.
I don't think that's how that's supposed to work.
I'm pretty sure it is.
All right. Sorry, I saw the head shake and I had to know.
Sorry, it was nothing to do with you. It was nothing to do with you.
No, it's good. It's good.
We're all just being snide in the side chat.
Teleria has come close to taking a hit. She has burned through a lot of personal threat here. And
so
you have a phaser rifle. So if you get a solid hit, she's going to have trouble avoiding this.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to take 1 momentum to get an extra die, and then I'm going to hope I can roll a 1 with my phaser focus to get that crit success. Oh! Okay. Actually, I don't need just a 1, right? Because it's got to be under my security, right?
Security, yes.
Okay, well, I rolled a 2, a 3, and an 18. So, I don't know if the 18... Yeah, the 18 is definitely way over, but with a 2 and a 3, that's 4 successes.
4 successes. You needed 2 to hit for the base difficulty.
Yeah.
So that gives you 2 extra momentum. If you want to spend some of that momentum, you can increase the severity. It costs 2 momentum to increase the severity by 1. You can do it multiple times if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll take those 2 momentum I just got to increase the severity from a 5 to a 5 to a 6. I really want to make sure that she goes down stunned, of course, but it's a very stern stun, not a casual one.
Yes, a very stern. So she had 3 personal threat left, and I had 2 threat left in my pool. So if you did not get that extra momentum or spend that extra momentum, I would have avoided the injury here, but I cannot come up with the extra threat to avoid this injury. What does this look like? How are you taking her out?
So after nearly having my head melted or disintegrated, instead of peeking up, I peek, laterally and shoot from the side. And because she's so hyper fixated on both the tachyonometer and Argent, it's just easy to just shoot her right in the chest.
Yeah, she came out with that disruptor rifle. She came out into the open pursuing Argent, and you just duck out. You pew your phaser. I'm sorry, I can't help it anymore. It's stuck. You fire your phaser. It's set to stun. She goes down hard, like you said, a very stern. She crumples to the floor, hits her head on the grating. She'll live. She's going to have a major headache the next day if she gets off the ship in time. Are you spending your maneuver to head to the Jeffries tube as well?
No, if Argent's still behind cover, I'm gonna, like I said, I want to be the last one out, so I'll do.
I think Argent said he moved to the mouth of the Jeffries tube.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm at
then
the
yeah.
mouth of the Jeffrey Street.
Yeah, so then I'll be at the very back or front of the group, whatever, covering everyone still.
All right. So that is the end of player turns. I still have the Centurion, but to recap, we have Dvorggern and Argent outside the mouth of the Jeffries tube, taking covering fire behind consoles and whatever scrap they can find. Hessel is literally at the mouth of the Jeffries tube. She's been messing with the console lair, rigging that to blow. Talas and Donko are well inside the Jeffries tube with this device, dragging it further and further away. Our last Centurion is only going to get one task here because Sub-Commander Teleria has been taken out. He is also going to aim. And because I don't have Teleria to protect, I am going to spend a threat to give him an extra die. And Dvorggern, you took out his sub-commander, so I think he's going to come after you.
Sorry.
Rude and churlish.
That's a complication on my end, y'all. And I don't have the threat to buy it off. I got a lolly and a 1 and a 5. So that is 3 to hit. Oh, no, I said I'm aiming, didn't I? Pretty sure I said I was aiming.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I also did not hear it. As the
But to be
plane
fair,
shot at.
I don't
think you can
re-roll.
re-roll a complication, though, can you?
Mm.
I thought
I
you
think
could.
that's true. I don't think so.
I don't think you
No?
can.
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure you
I
can.
can
I'll
look it
trust
up.
you. No, it's fine. I'm not sure if I actually said I was aiming for this guy. I thought it, but I don't know if I said it. So we'll let it stand because dice are sacred. So that is a 20, a 1, and a 5. That is 3 successes still. But he needed 4 because he did not move up, which means the disruptor fire goes wide. And I'll put this to you all. What kind of complication? What happens with this complication? What would you like to see?
I think the power cell on his disruptor overloads and explodes in his hand.
All those tachyons
Absolutely.
went to his power cell, yeah.
It's really
Corroded
going
by-
to disrupt his hand-eye coordination from now on. All right. With all of the chaos that's been happening, perhaps from exposure to the tachyons, like you said, Dvorggern, his disruptor has aged rapidly. And structurally, it has failed. And you see a massive green explosion that just like funnels out of this Jeffries tube that he was in and forces. You see a busted half of a disruptor slide across the grate in front of you, and you no longer see a Romulan inside that part of the Jeffries tube. Fantastic. All right. That is the end of the round. You still have one Centurion left who's in a Jeffries tube. What are we doing?
Leaving.
Yeah, I guess Argent would use his move action. Well, he'll take his action to try to telepathically stun the last Romulan, so he's not firing at us on our way out. And then he'll use his move action to move up into the Jeffries tube.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and take the action.
Okay.
I just want to point out, I have not seen anything that says that you can't re-roll complications, just for future reference. So
I thought we talked about it in a previous episode, but I couldn't remember.
I just did some quick Google searching too, and it said, and like I guess Fallout you can, so it's a different 2D20 game, so I'm not sure if it's carried over, but I couldn't find anything in the Star Trek book either.
I'm going to use
Thank
1
you for
point of
looking
momentum, if that's okay, since we got 5 and get a third dice. And since we're getting close to the end of this, I'm going to go ahead and spend my last point of determination and make one of them a 1 already, so that I can give follow my lead to the next person, that automatic assist. A 7 and a 9, so that's 2 more successes, so 4 successes in total. I needed 2. So I will spend those 2 momentum that I just got to increase the severity to severity level 4.
All right. And what does this look like as you are taking him out, stunning him?
I'm irritated. These guys were irritating. So yeah, I think you just see him. I reach up into his thoughts and I kind of tweak his auditory nerves, and he gets a little bit of vertigo, and slams his head into the top of the Jeffries tube and then falls out of it, unconscious, if he's out.
Perfect. Yeah. You hear the clank and then the crumple and the clank again as he falls. You know that these 3 Romulans are now taken care of. 2 of them are stunned. One of them had his own weapon blow up in his hands. He's probably going to be doing a little bit worse for wear, but at the end of the day, that's not your fault. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, by the way, Dvorggern, that was a hell of a shot you took there. Fantastic. And then he'll move up into the Jeffries tube.
All right, we have you all in the Jeffries tube. You know that there have been at least 5 Romulans on this ship. They mentioned having taken the bridge already. You do not know if that means there are more Romulans on the ship or not. What is our goal here? You have this device. You know that there is a Romulan presence in the system, and you are on a Federation ship that could be reworked, repurposed, or destroyed. What is your goal here?
Can we try to get the warp core is now functioning a little bit more properly? Some systems are coming back in. Would Commander Hessel be able to see if we can get communications back up, to see if we can kind of provide an update back for, kind of, are you looking for us to scrap this, or are you looking for us to kind of bring this in?
Yes. So you lost communications primarily because of the rings around the planet of Carina 10. Your personal communicators were not powerful enough, but now that you have the Hamilton's power back up, there is a chance that you can give yourself a surge of power, give your communicators a surge. That sounds great to me. I would like a engineering roll for this. We'll say difficulty of 1, because it is basic operations. You're a communications officer. This is things you do all the time, but it's 40-year-old tech that's been aged. So I think we do need a difficulty of 1. And I'll take some negotiation on what kind of attribute you would like for it, though. What would you be thinking? How are you?
Could I assist her? Because you said
Absolutely.
It's 40 years old, and I'm a veteran, and I've been around for a very long time, so I might be a little bit more familiar with the systems and everything. So I might be able to kind of help her with some of the old tech.
Old man.
Yeah. So Donko, this is old even for you. It was decommissioned 40 years ago, so this was like the very old stuff, but it's still things you would be familiar with. I'm not saying that you wouldn't know how it works, but it was at the tail end of this ship's lifespan 40 years ago.
My previous drill. Yeah.
How many symbiote lifespans do you have
7. They're all planned out too. I got 7.
It's like Doctor Who. You've only got so many regenerations.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want me to roll for it?
So we're going engineering on this. Okay. Melissa, did you decide what you were wanting to do with it?
I mean, I could do I'm pretty decent at reason, insight, any of those. And I also have troubleshooting as a focus. So
I think troubleshooting would work here. Yeah. Let's do reason then.
Okay.
All right. I rolled a 4, so you get a success from me.
All right. I'm trying to roll under 12. Do we have? I'm going to spend a momentum because we've got a momentum, and just because I haven't, I'll add a determination. So I want all the successes. The 1 and 8. So the 1 would have been a 2 anyway, with or without troubleshooting. The 8 is under because I needed a 12. So there's 1 for the determination, 1 from Danko, 1 from the determination spend, and then 2 from the roll of 1. So 5 successes.
Awesome. So that's 4 momentum that you're banking right now. Would you like to spend any of this?
Absolutely. If there's an increased effect that I can get from this, I would like to do that.
We could say it takes half the time if you spend 2 of them, so that you're able to quickly, rapidly prototype this.
Could she also spend? Could she create a trait now that says stable communications?
Absolutely, if that's what you want to do.
Just throwing
That
out
also
ideas.
Would you
works.
rather do
what
that than half the time? Bank some, spend it all? It's up to you. I'm just offering suggestions.
I have enough that I can do it faster and make a trait
Absolutely.
because we were pretty decent with momentum. So
Okay.
I'm also a veteran, and I rolled and I didn't get it back. So I tried, but I didn't get my determination back. I rolled a 1 over.
So give us a little bit of Trekno babble here. What are you doing to establish comms?
Oh,
What does
goodness.
this look like? How are you prototyping things?
So I would say that she has Hessel originally comes from a like frontier colony. So she's pretty well used to just kind of like jerry rigging communication systems together. So the fact that this is older tech doesn't throw her off at all because it's just something that she's like pretty well used to dealing with. So she's, kind of takes a bit of time to look at everything and just sort of see okay, this relates to this and this relates to this and this relates to this. So I think everyone watching her would just sort of see her like seeming like she's not doing anything for a bit because she's just sort of like pointing and pointing and then just suddenly like Danko's been because there's a couple things that she's like, I don't know, what about that or what about that, and then like there's lots of watching, and then lots of doing. And then all of a sudden she's just like hailing, our commander very quickly.
And you're doing this in half the time. So if it would take most people 10 minutes to do this, in your case, you're spending about 4 minutes just looking at everything, seeing how it works. And then as soon as you start putting tool to metal, as you start doing this, things just immediately start clicking into place. Your comms start going up. You continue working. You're making it more and more stable. You immediately get patched through to Captain Shelby. Commander Hessel, report.
Yes, we have taken care of some of the Romulans that are here. We have Danko and Talas have effectively addressed the threat. We have it on hand that we will be able to bring it back. We would report that the Hamilton is in fact here and was not scrapped. We would request instructions as to whether you would like it to be decommissioned, as it were, or if we can somehow bring this back to the fleet.
We should absolutely do our best to protect the Hamilton, bring it to Federation, make sure that what has happened here comes to light. We are not ones that should be sweeping this under the rug. We will own up to our mistakes. But if there is more Romulan presence on that ship and you have the tachyon device, your priority should be to return with it safely. You already requested a security team. They will be landing in 3.5 minutes. You could tell that she was looking at some sort of pad as she paused. Return with the tachyon device. Ensure that it does not fall into Romulan hands, and we will secure the Hamilton afterwards.
Understood.
Commander Shelby
Chief
out.
Shares that information with the rest of the away team.
Good job, Commander Hessel. Let's move back through the Jeffrey tubes, get back to the shuttle bay, and get out of here. We'll leave the security team behind for a rear guard action after they land.
You, working together, are easily able to move this device. You're taking care not to damage it, not to bump it against anything. The biggest difficulty is that there is so much structural damage to the Hamilton. You have to switch Jeffrey's tubes. You have to switch corridors at several points in order to travel safely, because there are so many places where like the ship is literally fallen out. There is no floor in certain places, and you can't risk dragging the tachyon device over a gap and losing it if it slides down. So you have to wind your way through, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are moving incredibly slowly. You're still making great pace. You just have to pick your path carefully. And you find your way back to the shuttlecraft bay, where you see the Romulan shuttlecraft and your shuttlecraft still sitting there, but the Romulan shuttlecraft has a Romulan outside of it who is attempting to repair the damage that you have done to his engines. You were able to secure him in the shuttle for long enough that it took him a while to get out. He has not made any progress on this engine. The shuttlecraft is still very much disabled. as he turns and sees you, he starts reaching for a disruptor that is still, it's not on hand. It's away as he had tools in hand. What are you all doing?
I feel like
Argent,
five. Yeah, just with 5 phasers and Argent talking, this is an easy situation.
Yeah. Argent is just going to say, listen, son, it's just time to surrender. This has not been your day. Come with us. You can hang out with the rest of your friends on the Intrepid, and then you'll get turned back over to the Romulans. Otherwise, you're going to get shot like 5 times here, and that's going to ruin your day.
My name is Ulan Jaren. I will not give you any more information. And you see him put his hands up.
That's fine, Ulan. We don't need any more information. It's a wise call, though. A hell of a lot smarter than your sub-commander. All right, let's go.
All right, so you have picked up one more member of the Romulan entourage. You pack up the tachyon device and you pilot the shuttle out. I require one more check as it is still difficult piloting. It's difficulty 2 to return. Who is flying the shuttlecraft?
It was Hessel all the way here.
Melissa.
So
Yes, that's
Can
me.
can I assist her again with navigation? I think I did that last time.
It's Darren Khan, and you can
Okay.
assist.
All right. Let's see what I can do. No, I don't. That is a fail.
Okay.
Difficulty 2.
Since we're this, I can spend determination because we're nearing the end of this.
Yes.
Okay. So I will spend the determination. I will spend a momentum. Heck yeah. That is a 1, a 3, and an 11.
Nice.
So
Roll that
Yeah.
d20 to get your determination back.
yes, thank you. Me and my veteranness. So what was I rolling again for discipline?
Darren Khan.
Oh yeah, con is 5. So both the 1 and the 3 are under that.
All right.
So,
nice.
So
1,
that
2,
was
3,
5
4.
successes from you?
5. Yep.
Nice.
All right. So you're banking 3. You're able to deftly pilot the ship through the debris field. Most of it that's causing trouble is the salvage that has fallen off of the Hamilton and is in gravity around Carina 10. You're able to pilot the shuttlecraft. As soon as you get a good distance away, then you can immediately go to autopilot. It's very simple flying from there. You make your way back to the USS Intrepid. You are greeted by a group of... What are we shaking our heads at now?
It's okay. It's okay.
All right,
And I
you make
actually
your way
had totally
back.
forgotten about my Pathfinder, which like it's even easier for me to like remember Pathfinder,
yeah.
and then I reduce difficulty by 1. So like I'm fine. No cheating needed.
You make your way back to the USS Intrepid, where you are greeted by a team of engineers who are ready to take this tachyon device, and they put it into proper storage, likely overseen by at least some of you, as you make sure that this is stored away. As this is happening, you return to the bridge, and that is when you see on the viewport a Romulan ship decloaking and warping away. The Romulan shuttlecraft has not left the Hamilton. You have taken several prisoners already, and that likely means that you'll gain several more, as there is a security team on the Hamilton as well. We're going to fast forward a bit here as you wrap things up. You have talked to Starfleet Command about the Hamilton. They know that they should come out and pick up the ship. There will be a formal inquiry as to how the paperwork was changed to hide the destruction of the Hamilton. And you're able to work with the colonists on Morgan's Hope to ensure that there are no more tachyon bursts. Dr. Talas, you likely would have been the point person for that. Unfortunately, there is no way to cure what has already happened with the aging. So that child that aged to 6 is going to have a rough several years, but eventually their mind will catch up and they will be able to live a normal life. But there is nothing that can be done to reverse the process. And that goes with everyone. You all... Ooh, I rolled 6. You all have aged 6 years from your proximity to this tachyon device while you were working on it. So your joints are a little bit stiffer. There's... every now and then you wake up and you have a sore neck. It's just unavoidable now. That's part of life.
Right. Steven, I play games like this to get away from those ailments.
Yeah.
You and me
This
both.
is Star Trek. So Dr.
Derek
Talas
say
is
that.
able to...
Derek's the youngest son of a bitch on this stream
Listen,
right here. Look at Derek.
I literally had the stiff neck thing this morning. It's right in my mind.
It just gets worse, dude.
No, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to log off right now.
That's true.
It's all fine until you hit your mid-50s, and then it's train wreck after that.
Getting a Herman Miller chair is worth the cost.
That's what everybody on the internet says.
That's what I have.
So let's do a little bit of a montage here. How do you think your character would be assisting in the cleanup of this? There's still a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy. You still have to assist the colonists. You still have to salvage the Hamilton. You still have to process all these Romulan guests, I suppose you would call them right now. And we'll go backwards order here. We'll start with our XO. Give Derek a little bit of time to see what everyone else is doing for once. Argent, where would you be in the process?
You would see Argent in the brig talking to this sub-commander through the force screen of her prison cell. Like, I told you that this was how it was going to end. And you just couldn't quite believe. Your captain took off. As far as the Romulans are concerned, you don't even exist anymore. I have a feeling your life has gotten a lot more complicated. It's a shame we couldn't make a deal back on the Hamilton. It's a real shame you tried to shoot me in the head. But I'm sure that you'll come to really enjoy Federation incarceration.
Aaron, would you like to give me a security presence roll here if you want? If you don't, if you're just trying to,
No, I'll give you the roll. I'm trying to elicit a response from her. So security presence for me is a 16. I got an 8 and a 15. None of that would be below my focus. So it would be 2 successes.
You see moments of hesitation. And she was sitting on this bench that's like built into the brig, and she stands up, straightens her uniform, turns to face you. You and I, we're not so different. We may be on other sides of this force field, we may be on other sides of this diplomacy, but I will value my time with the Federation. I do not believe that our races, our peoples, that was a Steven mistake there, too much D&D, our peoples need to be enemies forever. Someday,
Well, I hope not too.
I will be an ambassador, and we will meet under better circumstances.
Well, I look forward to that, Sub-Commander. We'll have plenty of time to chat between now and when we get to the starbase, so I'll do my best to see that the Replicator's programming is improved to give you better Romulan fare for you and your men while you're sharing our hospitality.
You see her struggle to maintain her emotion, something that is very difficult for a Romulan. You have my appreciation and my thanks.
Hey,
And then she sits back down.
by the way, if I hadn't been in your head when you fired that trigger, you would have definitely taken my dome completely off my shoulders. That was a hell of a shot. Have
You
a
see
nice day.
slight grin, and she turns and lays down on the bed. And as you're walking away, you hear, "And I would have felt no remorse."
Oh, I know.
All right. We cut to Commander Hessel. What are you doing throughout this process?
I would say that Commander Hessel is kind of trying to just sort of learn, kind of catalog and kind of review what she's learned, because she's always, kind of looking to make sure that, everything that has to do with like subspace communications and all of that is, kind of, she's always up on, kind of the latest with everything. And so she's definitely making sure that, everything that needed to be adjusted, recoupled, fixed, et cetera, with kind of all the communication stuff, that she's just sort of cataloging all that and making sure that all that information is kind of appropriately kind of set into kind of Starfleet history and whatnot.
So you would also you're going through and cataloging all the information on this mission. Would you be attempting to recreate information from the Hamilton's history?
Yes.
So you'd be working very closely with Starfleet Command, and of course the admiral that gave you all this directive, Admiral Talara of Vulcan. She is actually working with you hand in hand. She's a Vulcan, so she controls her emotions, but you can see that the gall that someone would change Federation records about something of this magnitude speaks to a type of corruption or of ego or arrogance that just irritates her. And she wants to root out this cause as much as anyone. Unfortunately, it's from 40 years ago, so many of the admirals and the staff who were responsible for this have since retired or moved on, but she is working tirelessly with you as well to make sure that there will be justice done for this. Whether or not people who involved with this are still in Starfleet or not, Admiral Talara has the sway that it will be righted some way or somehow.
Commander is one of her values is always finding a way to be useful. So she's just, kind of sees this as like, anything that we can do to ensure that something like this does not happen again. And Hassel's definitely kind of with the cultural aspect of just, the fact that there's this whole region that was negatively affected and the families and, all of those things. That is definitely very important to make sure that we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
And I think Admiral Talara would respect that as well. And she would essentially, in a very Vulcan, non-emotional way, tell you that if you ever need a favor, don't be afraid to reach out.
Thank you
very
much.
All right. Danko.
So Danko,
what are your duties in all of this?
Yeah, so Danko would very much be digging into any data that is on the Hamilton ship and any data that we have been able to collect through our sensors about the tachyon weapon itself, and compiling a report that he wants to file with the Federation Science Council to effectively create this kind of a public understanding for the scientists themselves, so that they understand the impact of what has transpired. Probably getting whatever medical data from Talas he can, but also paying attention to like what kind of effects this weapon had on the system, on the ship, and just putting together this big report with the data itself, but then also drawing these conclusions about like ethical application of science and how this was a very unethical application of one. So that's what he would be doing.
Yeah. Let's give me a reason science role here.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Is there any particular... I mean, I have quantum mechanics, astrophysics, pattern recognition.
Quantum mechanics would apply for this, yeah, because I'm trying to see like how well you're able to digest all this information.
That's a 4 and a 14, so 3 successes.
3 successes, excellent. Your technically building up momentum, but we'll if you want to spend it, go ahead, because we're going to lose momentum here at the end of the session. But your paper makes waves. It goes through, and it's on the cutting edge of tachyon research. You learn a lot about the designer of this device. It was created by a man who went on to work on deflector research. My notes are failing me here. Damon Spruill. He was a weapons researcher for Starfleet during the early 23rd century, and he's responsible for the development of several experimental torpedo designs. His later research focused on detecting and eventually generating tachyon particles, which is where that went. And now you're putting pieces together, how after the Hamilton was decommissioned around that time, he completely shifted his work into the development of contemporary deflector dishes. He created a lot of foundational technology for that. He stopped working with tachyons entirely after that experiment went wrong. You're able to kind of pick up where his research left off, obviously not coming at it from a weapons perspective, but just the effects of these tachyon bursts and things like that. And you have laid a solid foundation for future tachyon technology to come.
Okay.
All right.
And was I interpreting that correctly, that he shifted, like it was like a crisis of conscience, or were you trying to suggest?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yes. He went from weapons technology to working on shields instead, trying to protect people.
Okay, good.
All right. Dr. Talas.
So considering that Karina 7 had several children that were aging quickly, although the Ephron was the worst, so what Talas would be working on is creating sort of larger sets or optional readjustment sets for like baby walkers and everything like that would allow the parents to have an easier time, and also create like a nice like planning guide to help parents deal with large babies, essentially.
Yeah, I like that too. Let's get reason medicine there.
Okay.
I'd take presence as well, because you're trying to teach parents how to deal with it, if you'd prefer presence.
Nope. I'd much rather reason medicine. Thank you all the same. That is 2 successes.
All right. So Dr. Talas is now Dr. Spock with the child rearing book. I couldn't help it. It was right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it though?
Low bro, dude. Low bro. This is shredding for their lives.
How do you think you've influenced the galaxy at large with this information? Because it is a very niche subject, but it's one that's vital, and it's one of those edge cases that can affect many careers or many conditions outside of just tachyons. What would you say is so widespread about this? Becomes so widespread about it?
Well, as much as it is a niche topic, time travel events, tachyon emissions, aging up, rapid aging, and other sort of ways that the human body, or sorry, not the human body, but people can get affected by these different things and be a different shape than they are expected or mentally capable of being. The support devices created, the baby walker that's large for an adult, recreated and respect to resize, turns out actually very useful in a variety of situations, though still niche.
Fantastic. And finally, Dvorggern, what are your duties and responsibilities during this?
So, interestingly, though I am the chief security officer, because my understanding of Tellarese is they just have to be contrarian all the time. He actually is very much against like just having widespread weapons everywhere and using force. He sees it as like a necessary evil. And so finding out about the Starfleet dirty secret of them developing a secret weapon. It kind of ties in with what Denko is doing, so he may actually be in some of the scene with Denko, but he wants to understand how this weapon became a weapon and the implications of it, any ways he can understand the damages that it caused and the signatures and signs to look for, so that if he sees it in the future in any way, he can recognize it. Essentially, and one of it, this kind of ties into a lot of values, but one is like, admirals don't intimidate me. From a past situation he had where he called an admiral out, he's kind of gonna look at Starfleet and be like, these weapons, this is just a catastrophe, plain and simple. Like, we should not be doing things like this, especially under the radar. And just kind of, though he's not a chief scientist or a head scientist like Denko, he's pushing in like more of the industrial sector and the other sectors to kind of get the message out there at a more broad level, while trying to understand it better.
And this kind of ties in with what Hessel is doing too, with coming up with all the paperwork and the records.
Right.
So you might be going between Denko and Hessel to meet with Admiral Talara as well. And it brings you to a point of history that you would be fairly well familiar with as chief security officer. It was about 100 years prior to current stardate, a period of Federation history that's very controversial, especially with the Federation's involvement in the development and testing of all sorts of radical weapons and devices. The same time that this tachyon device was being developed, there was another device called the Genesis device. And it created and destroyed an entire planet known as the Genesis planet. With the Klingons were involved in that whole fiasco, and knowledge of the Genesis device and the planet that it created spread through the Alpha and Beta quadrants and created a very bad reputation for the Federation for funding technologies that are possibly highly unethical and entirely too dangerous to be controlled by most people. To be able to wield that type of power is impossible to fathom. So this tachyon device was part of that umbrella of weapons testing and that real push that was under the guise of increasing knowledge and increasing technology, but had questionable motives at the time, which is likely what led to it being covered up as well. They didn't want another scandal like the Genesis planet. And you're able to push back on that, bring awareness to this. And it creates a lot of... It creates a scandal now for the Federation as well, but a healthy one that actually calls the Federation to confront its actions, to own up to it, and accept responsibility for it. And you find that the Federation is fairly well receptive to this. There are a lot of people in Starfleet Command that regret this has happened and are making steps to make peace with it and pay back to the people who have suffered from it as well. The colony of Morgan's Hope has suffered quite a bit economically. It's going to take years for them to recover with the damage that's been happened to their crops, to their property, and everything like that. And there are big calls, there are strong calls in the Federation for them to receive quite a bit of assistance, and it looks like that will happen. Granted, it's still a bureaucracy, and this will take some time, but there is quite a bit of support to bring Morgan's Hope the aid that it needs. And that wraps up our first mission here. We're pretty much at time. So we won't necessarily get into pastimes. We might do it next session, we'll see. But you have completed the episode Entropy's Demise. Congratulations, you all. And your new orders come in. Captain Shelby has received information that the Intrepid is heading to the Cardassian Demilitarized Zone. And that is where we will be picking up next week on Star Trek Adventures. Thank you all for playing. I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this scenario. I thought it ran really well.
That was a lot of
What'd
fun.
you guys
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
My opinion,
really enjoyed it.
My opinion hinges on you aged my character 6 years. Does that mean I get does that mean I get 6 years of pay raises?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Good point.
I hit
Good
back paid from
question.
Starfleet.
Of course,
except Starfleet doesn't
There's no pay.
So
Yeah, there's no pay.
Oh, never mind.
for free.
Yeah.
So yes, take all the pay raises you want.
What you gotta really think about is leave time. Have you taken all that leave time?
Accrued leave time.
Yeah.
Yes,
So we can go to Rice and
that
have
is
some
still
fun.
a thing.
And you all have gained a milestone as well for achieving the adventure, which you guys can spend in between sessions. And we'll probably start next session with a little bit of like what you did in downtime and what your milestone achievement looks like. But let's do some shout outs. Aaron, what do we got going on with Garblag?
Please join me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Garblag Games YouTube channel, as I will be the narrator for the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. We're in the Cataclysm of Kang, Chapter 5, assaulting the Supremacy headquarters to free the Eldritch Knight from the horrific mechanical machinations of the Nanny. And then some other baddies are going to show up too, because you just got to do it.
I could absolutely see Stan Lee writing all that on the cover of a comic.
Absolutely. You got to tune in. The issue will be amazing, I am sure. And then on Thursday at the same time, you can join Lewis, who is going to be running the Forging of Small Dooms. Our Garblag Games is new, the One Ring campaign, with a group of Durance folks and Nagra dwarfs as they delve into Moria.
Fantastic. And as for myself, I have a new game that came out. It's a Weird West game. It's called Huckleberry. It's a lot of fun. You can go to Huckleberry RPG and find all the details about it. HuckleberryRPG.com. If you go to that website, you might see some familiar faces as the Lollygaggers ran a little mini campaign. I say mini. The thing was massive. They did 4 sessions. The last session was a mega session. It was fantastic. It was the best flippin' finale you'll ever see. So check that out. That was a lot of fun. If you'd like to play Huckleberry, join the Discord. I'm running sessions of it. I've got 2 sessions coming up this weekend. There are slots open if you'd like to play. Try it before you buy it. You know, how can you go wrong? If anything, we'll have a fun time no matter what. That's about all I got, Jeff. What are we doing with the Lollygaggers?
All right. So next game we got is Thursday, where some of the people on this stream are playing in that game and made some very curious decisions and put the party in a very dire situation. So we're going to deal with that and see what happens.
It was funny.
So it was very funny. It was a lot of fun. I'm fascinated to see how this is going to play out.
So on Thursday, though, Jeff, halfway through that, when we're all dead, what game are we switching to next?
That's a great question. Maybe we'll take Lewis's lead, do some One Ring. Maybe we'll do some Arzium. My Arzium book should be here by Thursday, Kipser. So we're going to have some choices. We're going to have some choices, basically. So that's our Simbaroom game. And then Friday, we're back to Delta Green, where, so I've seen a pattern. Half the party got high on peyote and have basically teleported to a different plane of existence. The other half got high on peyote and decided to go wander the Arizona desert. So, we'll figure that out as we go. And then Saturday, I don't even know what we're doing on Saturday because we finished up Huckleberry. We're not ready to Call of Cthulhu's not starting up until the 28th. So maybe we run a one shot of something. Just stay tuned. We'll see. And then Monday, Alien. And also check out YouTube, Adventures in Lollygagging. We've got a bunch of new games. We just started up a new game last night. Sorry, Aaron. We're playing Metro Otherscape. So we started up a brand new game. So we did our session 1. That should be popping up, or session 0, I should say. So we built up our little mega city and got our characters built. And so that's very exciting. And then we have all these other games that we've been playing, including Huckleberry, including our old Fried Empire game, including I don't know, what else we got? Dragonbane from Aaron and the Warhammer 40K before that. So lots of great stuff. You ready, Steven?
Literally dozens of games on your channel at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yep.
So check out the YouTube and subscribe and click that little bell so you get notifications when we play new games.
It's true.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. And definitely when you drop a comment, be nice because that's better than the opposite, which some of you
It is.
have been being the opposite lately. And that's just,
Don't be the opposite.
Don't be the opposite. Don't be the opposite. Okay. All right, we good to go? Am I good to rate?
We're good to go.
All right, we're gonna rate
Yeah.
Perception Studio. I was gonna hit Lost Carrier and RPG, but unfortunately they just went off. So let's go Perception Studio. They're playing some Changeling. Let's rate them. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.